left.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Voice is clown.
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto. My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You unlock this door with the...
What up, comic fam? How are you doing? What up, John? What up, Joe? What up, Holden? How are y'all doing tonight? That's right. Jim is flying solo. Everything's fine. Nate's fine. It's just his little one is pretty sick, so he's attending to her as he should. So let's just wish him all the best and all the positive energy towards him and his family so that they can get better, because his little girl is not feeling well. So anyway, let's talk about tonight, episode 179, issue 179 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. Jim flying solo. It's all good. What up, Trial? How you doing? Yeah, it was an interesting week. Actually, it was a really good week. I had some really fun with our comics this week. Obviously, I took out the books that Nate has that I don't read, but the ones that we do read together are obviously in the show. Some interesting books this week for sure. Definitely some cool ones, this independent books, and then some really good ones over on Marvel. And DC was DC, and I'm gonna try really hard to not be overly critical of DC. I'm just gonna be vanilla. What up, Empire? Thank you. I appreciate it. Jaden, what are you doing? How you doing? So yeah, let's talk about some business first, and then we'll get to the show. So as always, let's talk about our show sponsor, and that is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. That is Nate and I's LCS, where we get all of our comics. You can go there and get back issues, new comics, omnibus, collected editions, action figures, models, card games, D&D, dice, posters, statues, plushies. You can get it all. So definitely go check out Collected Comics and Games. They have a website. It's a great website. If you're not here locally, then can't check them out. It's staycollected.com. It's a great little website where you can get all that stuff that I talked about and more. Exclusive covers, variant covers, store variant covers. It's a great place to go get anything and everything that is comics and just fun stuff. So definitely go check out staycollected.com or one of their 3 locations here in the DFW area. That'd be greatly appreciated. As always, we talk about our sub goal giveaway. We're on the road to 1,250 subscribers, and when we get to that sub goal, we're giving away this signed slab CGC grade 9.8 Uncanny X-Men #1, signed by Jim Chung. Sorry. Awesome cover. Giving this away at 1,250 subscribers. So if you're not already, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like. It'd be much appreciated. And when we hit 2,000 subscribers, we're giving away a big old book. We're giving other stuff away between here and now, but we're also giving away some really cool stuff, and that is called a CGC grade 9.8 signed Thor #1 Nick Klein sketch variant signed by the great one Donnie Cates. So when we hit 2,000 subs, we're giving this away. So make sure to hit that sub button. You're not going to want to miss that one. All right, let's talk about this week's comments. Chat, Zatanna was DC's She-Hulk. Loved it. I need to go check it out. I wasn't able to pick it up. There were a couple books I actually missed this week, including the Herald of Apocalypse, which I'm kind of bummed about. So there are some books that I need to go pick up tomorrow and just go read. But John, I did see your message, and I think Nate responded to you on Facebook about the Zatanna book being really good. So I definitely want to check that out. Collected stocks, movie-themed cookbooks too, which my wife enjoys. There you go. Awesome. Batty, what up, yo? How are you doing? All right, let's talk about this week's comments. We're going to kick it off with our... Excuse me, I'm very gassy. Independence with Grimm, issue number 1 or issue number 18 from Boom Studios. This is actually really good. I actually just read this before the show started, and we actually, we've been getting these character studies for a while now, and this one was really cool. I think it's very clear that we're starting to move the plot now. We've kind of set up our pieces even more with these character dives, and we get this last one, the Herald of Life, and his name is Harold. And we get a little backstory behind him, and we get a little bit more backstory between life and death and how they've been kind of opposed, obviously, but they kind of work in tandem as well. And this guy has been the Herald of Life, and it's a little experiment of life. And I don't know, I really enjoyed the issue. I felt like this issue kind of turned a corner for us. It's very clear that we're trying to move the plot, and I think we're getting there. But we just needed one more piece, and this piece felt very pivotal, even though I'm sure every other character that we've had a character-centric issue for has been obviously important, but this was just really good. I felt like it felt like we were turning the page, that we're getting ready to move forward, and the plot is about to explode. So I enjoyed it. I was a little worried about it, but it was really good. I liked it a lot. So not necessarily my pick of the week, but I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, I think we're moving towards something really great with Grimm. I think the next couple issues will really move towards some kind of momentum building and really. I gotta hit the focus. It's bothering me. I don't feel like I'm in focus. There we go. That's a little better. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think it's great, and it wasn't as sludgy as the previous issues. I felt like we were really I just can't get into focus. Maybe I need to move closer. Is that better? Yeah, there we go. I liked it. John says I like Grimm as well, but I'm losing track of the main narrative. Yeah, I think we're getting ready to move there. So we'll see how it goes. Empire, you guys are the only comic YouTubers I watch reading Grimm. Dropped it a while ago, but I've been dropping more titles lately. That seems to be, I think that's happening a lot with a lot of other books, and I understand. I get why people have dropped this book. There was, I mean, technically we're still in this little run of books that issues that are still kind of character-centric backstories, and so the plot and I think the narrative is kind of slowed down a bit. So I get that. I understand why people have probably dropped this book, and I think there'll be a jumping on point here soon. So, but I mean, do what you do. I've dropped a bunch of books that I'm not reading that I'm sure other people have too. That it is what it is. So, Joe says Air of Apocalypse was badass this week. We already got 4 members off the board, and sadly one's my pick to win it. But Sinister is going to Sinister, and it makes it so much better. I need to go check it out. I know I've heard that we've been dropping some characters in that book. John in with the super chat. My top 3 this week were Rook, Exodus, Zatanna, and Bloodhunt. Honorable mentions were Thanos Annual, because I'm a sucker for Thanos. I totally get that. I can't do annuals, man. I just can't do it. But it's all good. It makes sense because since Grimm started, we've got Energon, Ghost Machine, and Ultimate Universe, and more and more interesting titles. Yeah, for sure. Energon Universe, yeah. All right, let's keep it going. Next up, we have Department of Truth, issue number, what was this, 23? So this is just what this really is just a reintroduction of Department of Truth, which I think makes sense. It's been 2 years since we've had an issue. A little bit more insight into how the department was built, a little bit more insight to the Lady in Red, more with Lee Harvey Oswald and his involvement and how he kind of got situated with it. Overall, I thought it was a good issue, but it definitely was just kind of like a, hey, remember this book? So there's nothing wrong with that. I think it hit on all cylinders. I think it felt like Tinian, but it definitely was a, hey, remember this, and also a good jumping on point for anyone that hasn't already read Department of Truth. So it did 2 things really well in getting potentially new readers to read it, but also anyone that has read it and forgot about it and just needs a little bit of a refresher, that's it. But I don't feel like, I think the only thing that we got that was like of significance is the Lady in Red kind of being more influential than she should be. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil it, but you know, I think that was the biggest revelation for me, or at least new thing for me. I think everything else was pretty standard. So I think towards the end of the book, when we got some more explanation about the Lady in Red a little bit, and then what she ends up doing or perceives to be doing, I think that was significant. So that's interesting. But I think it felt like Department of Truth. It just felt, I just think this issue was just very like, hey, we're still here. And we've been around, we've been gone for 2 years. So here's a refresher. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I, if I'm being honest, I think I was kind of expecting it. I think the book would do itself a disservice if it just jumped right in like you read issue 22 last month. I think that would have totally done the book a disservice. So I can't knock it for trying to like, hey, remember this? Like, I think there's just nothing wrong with that. But I enjoyed it. And obviously the Simmons artwork is just piece de resistance. So it's really good. John, I wanted to pick up this book, but I wanted to hear y'all's opinion first. Does anyone have an idea of how this series ends? I love it, but could it be a shocking ending to this epic run? I think there might be. I need to probably start collecting this book when the first issue started. It was still affordable. Yeah, dude. Like, let's see. I'm pretty sure. Where is it? Yep. Got me a 9.8 right here. Department of Truth. Issue number 1. Actually, I think I have a raw too. So yeah, this thing is, I remember them saying that this potentially was getting picked up by Netflix. But everything seems to be getting picked up by Netflix. But this would make sense for this book. But that's a good one. All right, next up, Void Rivals. Whoa, guys! Like, we finally got some substance. I mean, not to say that we haven't. We've been getting substance, but dude, we actually got some connectivity here. And obviously, spoiler alert. If you haven't read it, turn off the audio now. Our two little, humanoid, nice shit, maybe on payday, right? Our two humanoid characters from two different planets who seem to be they're kind of warring factions of the same tribe, if you will. They have some kind of genetic relation to Cybertronians. Crazy, right? That's the connection we have here. So we actually have some connectivity with these two warring civilizations and Cybertronians. Or Transformers. They're able to essentially connect to Energon. Energon is something that can actually be used to heal them, and that's what we do with the female character. The other Transformer finds out that there's some kind of relation to it. He uses some Energon on her, and boom, she's back. So, big deal here. I think in the sense of the Energon universe, now we actually can, like, this is the, now we don't just have Transformers in this Void Rivals book, but there's actually some relation to these characters and to, they're related somehow. Genealogically, right? Is that the right word? Crazy. It looks like we're moving, we're getting ready, just like this. We've had a little bit of I wouldn't say a stumble, but the narrative has been kind of lost with character building and this pursuit into this like badlands of the planet that they're on. But this whole reveal of these two warring factions being related to Cybertronians somehow and being able to use Energon as a force to heal or build or whatever is a connecting point between the two. I think is really cool. And I think we've been looking for that. I think we've been, outside of, oh look, there are Transformers in this book and they're not just, they're out in space, which is crazy. We have some better connectivity here, and I think that's great. So I liked it. I really enjoyed the book. I think, again, the artwork's there. We still have some tension between the two planets, which I think is great. They're still being bounty hunted, even though our main guy here, this main Transformer, does a pretty good job of getting rid of the bounty hunter, but he still escapes. It's pretty gruesome. But the connectivity with the Energon, I think, is the biggest and most obvious oh shit moment in this book. So very exciting. The fact that we're getting that here now, I'm like, okay, when do we see these two characters, these two civilizations make an appearance in the Transformer books? When do we see G.I. Joe, you know, they're dealing with this Transformer threat? When do they realize it's a much bigger game than just these big robots that, you know, we've got these two warring factions? You know, do they bring their conflict to Earth? Or, you know, what the possibilities are so endless, and I'm super stoked for it. So I liked it. I think it was really good. Independents were on a roll this week. I think they're finally got that itch scratched, because Nate's been the one carrying the show when it comes to independents, and there would have been more obvious independent books on the show if he was here, but again, I can't review the books that he read because I don't read those. But I finally saw the light and had some really good times with my independent books that I actually had. So super stoked for that. All right, let's jump over to DC. We're going to kick it off with Absolute Power Ground Zero, the little issue 0 prelude to the Seismic event series of Absolute Power. You know, it was good. It was fine. I think it did what it had to do in order to establish what Absolute Power is going to be. Obviously, if you've been reading every other DC book under the sun that's been moving in this direction with this event, I'm sure you were more in tuned with this issue. You know, kind of reading comments and reading reviews, I kind of got the gist of where we were and where we were going. You know, Amanda Waller's got an end game, and she's been working at it for a long time, and she's upset, or not upset, but she wants to be, like every other thing, she wants to be the one in absolute power. To, you know, she doesn't like superheroes having the last say, and so it's very clear that she's getting ready to fuck some shit up, and she's making robot versions of our superheroes. She's somehow stealing their powers, and it's off to the races, right? You know, this issue was fine. I won't be reading any tie-ins unless they're involved with the ongoing book that I'm reading. So Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, Green Lantern. That's, for me, where I will be getting my Absolute Power tie-ins. Even though I know there is going to be a John Superboy or Superman book, which will be interesting. Maybe I'll pick that one up. But other than that, I'm not terribly, like, I'm not, I think there's it's either 68 or 72 total books linked with Absolute Power. I can't do it. I'll have to see how everybody else reads, because I can't do it. Empire, I really liked this one. I'm excited to see how Jay Nakamura is used. Yeah, when he showed up, I was like, oh, look at that, cool. And it's obvious that they're probably going to use, you know, his powers somehow in this. I mean, I think that's the game. And Dreamer just kind of, you know, it's obvious, you know, Waller's going to do her thing, right? She's going to blackmail you, and we'll see that in Green Arrow. But just her use of deception and blackmail is just obviously at the forefront with this event. I mean, that's her number one, that's her thing, right? That's her jam. That's what she does best. So, you know, I'll say this: I was not as my expectations were incredibly low, and they exceeded my expectations. So that's good. So you know, is what it is. Hold honorable mentions to Power Girl, which includes Crush, Lobo's daughter, using a chain to lasso and catch and ride a fire-breathing half-dragon, half-motorcycle creature on her way to rescue her friends. That sounds dope. That was an amazing sentence. That's so good. Did anyone read Self-Help? I did not, Joe. Also, Holden says, my patois is something's killing the children. Loving this arc so much. Bummed that it is now more than halfway over. Still wish we could get a separate ongoing title for standalone stories with Erica's past. Yeah, I mean, you never know. I'm sure Tinian will get the itch or will be approached and he'll make his money and he'll do it. Or someone will. Boom will do it at some point, right? You would assume. So. All right. Green Arrow. Countdown to Absolute Power. This was unexpected, even though he's kind of wearing the uniform. And interesting. So, it would appear that blackmail is not an issue or is not being used against Oliver. But he's doing the Amanda Waller thing. He's gonna fight on her side, and he's taking out. Looks like he's gonna be taking out his friends. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I was surprised, but also I was just like, wait, what? So, he's playing the other side. Maybe he's playing the agent within to bring it down. Who knows? Maybe that's the play. But he's not playing. He's not playing on the other side with the top three. He's on Amanda Waller's side. But if I had to be a betting man, he's doing the whole double agent thing and fighting it from within. That's my thing. I think, even though I swear I can't let super metahumans be around. Like, that's the shtick. But I'm sure it's because he's playing the game. Wait and see. Overall, issue is fine. Full bore into Absolute Power, which that's the MO, right? Like, we can't be surprised by that, right? That's just what it is. So it's cool. Hold on. Something Simulation is always awesome. I liked it a lot as well. Yeah, I mean, Nate is all about it. So, all right, let's jump over to Marvel, and we've got Blood Hunt issue number 4 of 5, and this is my pick of the week.
That's Chip's pick of the week.
Oh my goodness. This was so fucking awesome. I really enjoyed it. I liked the history lesson that we got. It felt fluid. It felt natural. We've got probably one of the original, what we have is one of the original vampires from Atlantis calling the shots and is possessing Blade. So now we know, right? Blade isn't just doing this willy-nilly. He's obviously, and we kind of figured he was possessed by something, and it was one of the primal vampires from Atlantis, which is pretty crazy. The big reveal, though, again, spoilers, warnings for everything that we're talking about now. So if you haven't read this and you want to keep watching, but just mute it if you haven't read this. Big reveal, and I fucking loved it. Excuse my French. Mark Spector is back as Moon Knight, baby. It was awesome. It was so cool. Seeing them break out Khonshu out of jail and him reviving Mark. Obviously, we knew that Moon Knights could come back, but they come back a little different. So I'm sure Mark will be even more messed up in the head. And, who knows if we pick up a couple more personas after this event. But to see him show up the way he did, I think Pepe Larraz did such an amazing job in this book. His artwork was fantastic. When the moon rose and it was just this, it was just epic. And then just seeing Mark just with all the other Moon Knights just behind him, kind of just doing their fucking thing. It was so good. I loved this issue. I think the writing, McKay's writing, is so fluid, and it does such a great job in this book. I think the story's on point, and again, we're bringing in characters. I think there's different ways to incorporate characters that you didn't know anything about, or were so B or even C or D level, and then just punching them into these stories. And I think if you do it clever, I don't know. If you do it right and effective, then you're going to have a great story. Because I think DC does the same thing, but they just kind of throw them in willy-nilly. And I feel like there's an investment. Now, granted, if you're not reading Moon Knight, if you haven't been reading, there's obviously some connectivity. And I know that it sounds hypocritical, right? You got to do the same thing with DC. But, I guess I'm just more invested with Marvel that, how did Contra get into jail? Well, he fucking told Mark Spector to take over the Avengers and take all their powers, so they locked him up. When did Mark Spector die? Well, it happened in Moon Knight. And so, like, if you have done your homework and have read these things and you want to do your homework, this was a massive payoff. I thought it was great. I just think Jed McKay is doing such a great job of really tightening what we're doing at Marvel. And I would just love for him to create, even though I'm sure it's not in his wheelhouse or not even, he may not want to, but just create a writer's room with everyone else that can play the same way he can play, and they could really fucking run. I mean, he's doing it on his own, great, but I mean, like, to bring in a Rainbow Rowell, right, or an Al Ewing, or a Scotty Young, you know what I mean? Like, shit, even a Donny Cates, but I know that, you know, that's probably never going to happen again. Would be amazing to just, like, run the gambit and really have some cohesiveness in your storytelling. And I know that Marvel is doing a better job at that, and obviously you've got what McKay's doing, and then you got what Hickman's doing. So, you know, there is some fluidity right now going on at Marvel, and I think we're at the horizon point of, like, some really cool shit about to go down with Marvel Comics. Remains to be seen with X-Men. I'm sure it'll be great, but you know, I think we're just on the cusp of something really cool, and hopefully it doesn't end anytime soon. But Blood Hunt, absolutely fantastic. It's my pick of the week. It was so good. I just don't know. Like, obviously, like, the big climax is going to be issue 5, and my only worry is it's going to end too quickly. I mean, we have one issue to just resolve everything, right? So we'll have to kind of wait and see. Isn't Rainbow Rowell taking over Action Comics? I don't know if she's taking over. I think she just has a stint in it, because right now Action Comics is kind of like, it's a fluid book in the sense that a writer gets it for 2 or 3 issues and then they jump to another person, from my understanding. I know she's doing something with Lois Lane, and I will definitely read that, because it's Rainbow Rowell. Anything she's writing right now, I'm picking up. Just doing it. Sorry. It is what it is. I am unapologetic to that fact. Also, who is fake Moon Knight? That happened in the last issue before Blood Hunt started. It wasn't it Midnight, or I don't remember. It was some random story, some random guy that was deep within the lore of Moon Knight, and he just wanted to, I think his explanation was, like, he wanted to, like, be the Moon Knight that Moon Knight never could be, or some shit like that. And then he ended up turning into one of the dark portals that the the vampires used to start this whole event. Oh, and then I don't know if you read, or if you read on social, there is a special, this coming Wednesday, there is a special issue 0 of the Return of Moon Knight. So get your LCS early. There will be an issue 0 of the new Moon Knight book that's written by Jed McKay. It's just a continuation, obviously, but we're getting an issue 0 with Moon Knight back. And so be ready for it. It's going to be awesome. When I read that, I literally called Collected and was like, yo, did y'all, and, you know, Mike was like, yep, we got it. We'll put it, like, we'll get you a copy. So do it. Call your LCS if you can. Say, hey, put one of those issue 0s of Moon Knight that's coming out on Wednesday in my aside. I want to read it. So it's happening. So be prepared for that. It's going to be great. Let's see here. So this book is a visual masterpiece. Bloodhound is amazing. Maybe my favorite event in recent years, but my boy Moon Knight is back. Hell yeah, Joe. Red Band makes such a difference. I hear this week Werewolf by Night will be Red Band as well, and earns it. I think this Red Band idea, I think Marvel needs to run with it. I mean, you know, if you're smart, you just pick up the Red Band, but I buy both. So you're doubling sales. And I like to see the differences. I like to go between the two and really see what you're paying for, and it's noticeable. So I think this Red Band idea, I think Marvel should run with it. I think it'd be stupid not to. Just saying. So, all right. Sorry guys, had eggplant parmesan, basically. It was so good, and I've got heartburn. Joe, one thing I've noticed about McKay's writing is he likes to create and surprise and go with deep cuts as the picks. Who killed Doctor Strange? Why is Blade evil? Who's helping Hunter's Moon / Tigra? Yeah, I agree. And sometimes they work amazingly, and sometimes they're like, meh. But the fact that he has the courage to do it is fucking awesome. So, love this book. It was great. Let's see. Rainbow Rowell. You don't need to apologize for picking up anything Rainbow writes. She is top notch. 100%, John. Nah, Jim, that was from the comments before that. Fake Moon Knight. Oh, okay. All right, let's keep moving. Daredevil issue number again. What was this? What was this again? Shit. Oopsie. I always pick up I load the show with the covers before they put the numbers on sometimes, and so I forget. 10. Okay. This. I wonder what the surprise for X-Men book will be. It's gonna be crazy good. I'm sure it'll be deep. It'll be a deep cut. Will it be Krakoa related? We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's clear Krakoa ain't going nowhere, or at least the idea of it will be very present within our X-Men books. So we'll see how that's dealt with. It could either go really well or not so much. But Daredevil 10, trying to figure out what's going on with Kingpin, and I kind of forgot. So Spencer says, as a giant Daredevil fan, I do not like this run at all. I get that. I think what I'm not going to say I'll agree with you, Spencer, but you're obviously, I'm not saying you're wrong. I think what this run does, don't forget halftime. I'm so sorry. There it is. I will jump on it after this. I think with this run, it kind of weaves in and out between Matt trying to come to some semblance of his life, right? Which is fine. But then you have this really cool concept of him fighting the 7 deadly sins incarnate. And I think that's really cool. Like seeing how they infect heroes and villains and how he's going to deal with it, I think is great. I think that's, to me, like, I love that side of the story. And I think we keep jumping, or we don't know when that style or when that plot point is going to pop up, right? So we've been in this mode of like not dealing with the sins for the past 2 issues, and it felt like that's where this issue was going to go, and then suddenly, boom, Kingpin is obviously, and rightfully so, possessed by the spirit or the sin of greed, right? So, and it was just kind of, I wouldn't say it was abrupt, but you were getting there. It was like, oh shit, we're turning again. And so I think I get that. It's just it's a book divided in itself, with being a street level hero and dealing with the supernatural. And I think Chip did a really good job of fusing those two together, where it started that way and then it kind of just crescendoed to this supernatural evil forces book. Whereas this one is like, it still feels like it's trying to find its footing. I like it personally. I'm having a fun time with it. I think the only thing for me that is just absolutely a turnoff is the John Romita Jr. covers, but we all know that, so I don't need to beat that stick. I don't need to beat that dead horse with a stick, right? That's what it is, and we'll be fine. But I will say the narrative jumping between the concepts is a little sloppy. I will say that. It just feels like when we're finally going in one direction with a concept, we take an incredibly sharp turn and we're in the other one. And I feel like we should just focus on one. And to me, it's the 7 deadly sins possessing people around Matt and fucking with him. I think that's, to me, is the more intriguing plot point, rather than Matt trying to figure out how to life again. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and not whatever. It's just not as interesting to me. Because it's very clear that we're like inching towards him just being the same old Matt. And him fucking up things within his personal life. So he's just going to be Daredevil. So like, let's just get it, like, rip the Band-Aid and let's go. Spencer, I'm glad that some people like it. Yeah, no, I think it's good. It's not, again, it's not, that's the thing that I think a lot of Marvel titles right now are in the middle of or about to start, which is that creative teams have changed, new writers are on, and concepts are going to be different. And sometimes they're great, and sometimes they're misses. Like Captain Marvel and Deadpool, no, they're just not there. I think, you know, if you were to like tier list them, Daredevil or Deadpool and Captain Marvel are like a D minus, getting close to an F, whereas Daredevil is probably a C, maybe C plus, close to a B minus. It's just kind of in the middle of the road. And X-Men are about to launch. We're going to see that. I think Jed McKay's Avengers, you know, coming off of Jason Aaron's Avengers run, it was pretty low, right? I mean, it was a crazy adventure, and it had its highs and its lows. But I think Jed McKay, you know, had an opportunity to take a franchise or a story and really just do whatever the fuck you wanted, because Jason Aaron blew the roof off. Whether it was a good or bad, you know, that's the position he had. And I think a lot of books are in that point now where we have new teams, and we just don't, like, as we read, we kind of figure, okay, this is going to work, or hey, this is probably going to get canceled soon. You just have to feel it out. But Daredevil to me is probably a solid C plus, in my opinion. Let's see. I just finished the first arc with the team up with She-Hulk. I think the first arc is great, and I can't wait for the second trade. 100% Joe. I bought this issue, but I didn't read it yet, as I am 3 issues back, and I really liked how the arc started, but it's tapered off for me. I totally get that, John. I'm excited for Daredevil Woman Without Fear book. I hope it continues the story from the gang wars. Probably will. John, agreed on Deadpool. I dropped dropping it from my poll. Yeah, I couldn't. Its tone is all over the place. And the thing is, Cody Ziegler is a great writer. Like, he's awesome. I think today's style of switching creative teams a lot is what I think that you have about 2 years to wait for a new team. Imagine if you didn't like Chris Claremont, you'd had to wait 20 years. You're right, Joe. Dang it, what is that? Halftime question up there. We've seen big name writers from Marvel go to DC: Aaron, Brian, Michael Bendis, Ram V, Al Ewing, and more. But we rarely see opposite. Why does the big name writers choose? Why doesn't the big name writers choose Marvel? I think Marvel. I don't know. I mean, my assumption would be that Marvel is just a little bit more strict on what you can and can't do with your characters. I think as we move further and further within the MCU, this idea of cohesiveness is probably just going to be what it is. And I'm sure, more prestige writers, bigger writers don't want to deal with that shit. Now, that's an assumption. It could be that they just don't, Marvel wants to bring in new talent and wants to kind of keep the door revolving. I don't know. But that's my perception of that, is that you have to have writers that are willing to, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but have to be willing to play ball and be willing to realize that the comic book industry is probably getting ready to change when it comes to the big two, more specifically with Marvel. But I think DC's not too far behind, especially once, James Gunn gets rolling with his whatever he's going to do with DC. So I think this idea of having the comics mirror what's going on in the movies will probably end up happening over at DC, depending on the success of the movies. And I'm sure they'll be great. I'm not gonna dog that at all. I just think DC is always like 2 to 3 steps behind, even though they're the original almost. They're almost the OG, but they're just behind. And I think it has to do with a lot of internal politics within Discovery and whoever else is going to own the piece of the pie. But we'll see what James Gunn does. But as for Marvel, I just think you have to find writers that are willing to play ball with Kevin Feige or any other form of restrictiveness when it comes to cohesiveness. That's a lot of this. With Marvel. And whether you like it or not, I think that's where we're going. And I don't know. We'll see. I have my thoughts. I think I'm super bummed that She-Hulk is ending and Rainbow's not on it anymore. And I don't know if we're, who knows when we get another She-Hulk book. I hope it's not too long. But we'll have to wait and see. But I just think to me, that is why you don't see some of these other writers. I mean, they want to do big things. They want to do massive ground shaking things. And I think at Marvel, like, if you're going to do that, it better fucking land. And if it doesn't, you're out. Whereas with DC, they just kind of just throw events and big fucking things all over the place where they just don't matter. So I think with Marvel, they're just a little bit more careful to do those kinds of concepts. So you have to find writers that if they're going to swing, they better fucking hit it out of the park. And if they don't, it's over. Again, that's a massive assumption. That's just my opinion. And you guys know that. I'm not like, oh, I know, I've got sources. No, I don't. That's just my perception of it. So, great question. Loved it. Let's see. Not a fan of Deadpool. I'm out. Got you, Charles. I totally understand that. Marvel is like a farming system to gain name and reputation because I've heard writers make more at DC, and Marvel has a tight editorial room. I think that's I think that's another facet of it. And to be honest, Marvel is always leading the sales, so big names doesn't really matter. I think Marvel knows that. Yeah, I think to an extent, but like, can you just imagine if Marvel just put out a social media post, a all black photo with Donny Cates or just Cates in white? I mean, the comic community would lose their fucking minds if that happened. I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't matter it would not matter what book it was, right? So I think there are instances when Marvel can placate to a massive writer or massive artist or a massive continuation or coming back to story. So they just have to know when to do it. You know what I mean? So like we heard, Joe Casey is on ASM. Yeah. It's like, what? I think Marvel focuses more on cohesive shared universes. DC sometimes feels like a bunch of mismatched puzzle pieces. I agree with that, John. 100%. All right, let's move on. Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, issue number 2. Again, I'm this is my Silly Goose Time book. It's super fun. And I think this is where we're kind of seeing this connectivity to what's going on in the MCU with the use of the what's the name of the group? The TVA, and OB being the one in contact with Gwen and telling her not to do anything stupid. Don't be a superhero, and we get more of that. I will say this issue was a little confusing in the sense of like, why is the Chameleon after Spider-Gwen? That was a little weird. Like, is it the Chameleon from her universe or is it from that one? But overall, I liked it. And then you've got, the whole gang of spider people just going like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. And a little bit of tension between the spider fam. So I thought that was good. I had fun with this issue. I think Marvel, I got that one. Like when Batman needed a new writer for Batman, and they went out and got Chip Zdarsky was a current writing Daredevil. Marvel got Joe Casey that hasn't done much recently. Yeah. My thoughts with DC. No, I'm not gonna do it. I am not going to rant tonight. But I'll say this in a non-ranting form. DC has too many Batman books. There's my hot take. 2 Stephanie Phillips Marvel books, and this and Black Widow and Hawkeye, which was good. 100%. Dude, Stephanie Phillips is killing it right now. This is fun. I literally picked it up because it was Stephanie Phillips. Like, that's... I mean, I like Ghost Spider, but like that is the main reason why I picked up the book, because Stephanie Phillips was on it. So I'm not gonna apologize for it. Ultimate Black Panther issue number 5. Woo! We are moving quick, we have now established an element that is the polar opposite of vibranium, that gives life, doesn't defend, isn't used for weapons, but actually can create entire empires with the flick of the wrist. This was dope. I thought this was great. I'm still loving Ultimate Black Panther. What we're doing. I will say, like, Ra and Moon Knight getting their hands on the other element did feel a little choppy, but whatever. Like, we need to move the plot because these two forces are coming and fighting, and we need to move. But overall, I think the cohesiveness of the book, the character building, this world, like, this is an amazing Black Panther book. And you would have never heard me say that when the Ultimate Universe was initially, like, being reintroduced. This was a great book. You're right, Joe. Like, Ultimate Black Panther was fire this week. From the art flow to the story, I can't wait for the next issue. I'm right there. I just felt like the progression of Moon Knight and Ra getting the material felt a little too fast, but that's my only complaint, if there has to be one, which there doesn't. We can stay positive, right? The Mark Brooks covers for Spider-Gwen, dope. Yep, 100%. All right, our last book of the night. We got Moon Knight Blood Hunt, or Vengeance of the Moon Knight Blood Hunt tie-in, and it's basically just like what's the Midnight Mansion or Manor doing? What's our team doing? While all the other big heroes are off fighting, and they're fighting, they're defending, and we just get this idea of family, if you will. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I like the idea of just his crew just taking over and getting shit done and keeping the streets safe. I thought that was cool. So, again, McKay knows how to write these characters, and they're oddball characters. Fucking guy, a former supervillain with an 8-ball as his head, and he's got a Q stick that shoots bullets. That was fucking cool. And then we get the big reveal at the end of, like, the moon showing up, and Reese, going like, oh shit, like, they did it, it's going down. And so, I can't wait to see, I really can't wait to see, how Mark is going to, how he's going to act, how he's going to deal with being dead, how much of him will be there, how much of him will not, how's the team going to react. Yeah, Blood Hunt is just wild. It's so good. I'm very impressed. I think this has been good. And I liked this issue. It just gave us more insight. And I'm sure the other Blood Hunt tie-ins are doing the same thing. I'm being very strict with my bills, with my dollar bills at the moment. And so I'm going to pick up the books that are essential to my pull list. So if anyone else is reading any of the other Blood Hunt tie-ins, let me know. Let me know how they're going. And if I'm missing out, I've contemplated picking up the what's it called, the X-Men Blood Hunt tie-ins, just to see, because I have some genuine interest in those, but I don't know yet. Also, Blood Hunt 4, Strange Academy, being recruited by Doom. Holy fuck! Also, Doom saying he needs to be the Sorcerer Supreme. Holy shit! Like, just moving some stuff here. Okay. Like, Blood Hunt is just killing it. I love it. Jed McKay is just... I'm having a silly goose time. And I love it. I don't want it to end. So I'm very excited to see what's next. Like, what's going to be... I mean, Jed McKay can't be doing a fall/winter event, right? Like, there's no way. So what are we doing? Is it going to be... I know that we're on the horizon of Venom War or whatever. I'm good. Pass on that one. But... or are we going to get an Avengers X-Men event? Are we getting Avengers versus X-Men 2.0? Are we going to get a Phoenix? We're going to get a Cyclops Phoenix again. Who knows? I think winter or fall/winter event for Marvel, I have to think it's McKay. And that it's going to be something to do with the X-Men and the Avengers. Like, it has to be, right? Like, I don't know, man. Very interested. Very interesting to see where we go from here. Like, we a lot of moving parts going on at Marvel. And if you would have told me that that was the case at the beginning of the year, I'd be like, you're funny. Like, Marvel's in shambles right now. No, like, it feels like we're building to something. You know, we got Deadpool on the horizon, so let's see what that does with the movies. You know, I read recently that Marvel's going to be back at Hall H for San Diego Comic-Con. Holy shit. Like, I just feel like, in general, Marvel right now, and who knows? Like, I could be eating my words, and in December, at the end of the year, I could just be like, it all fell apart. It all fell apart. But right now, it just feels like we're building to something really kick-ass right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. All right, let's get to chat here before we wrap up. I love the Boss Logic covers for this book. If you're a Black Panther fan and feel left out in the 616, you don't have to look far because this is a banger. Moon Knight is God tier this week. I love how this issue captured the tone of the vampire invasion from the civilian's point of view. Great character development for Reese as well. 100% Joe. John, I actually thought that the Moon Knight issue was slightly lackluster. I didn't hate it, but I felt like it didn't pop as well as it usually does. I will still buy every issue ever. No, yeah. I mean, it was just, I think it was, again, it was pure, like, what's the rest of the team doing? Because the main part of the team, Hunter's Moon and Tigra, are off in Blood Hunt, and now we've got Mark back. And so, you know, I think I think it's valid to see, like, what the rest of the team is doing. And they're being badasses. You know what I mean? They're being the army of Moon Knight, the army of Mark, and they're killing it. But I get that. I'm not poo-poo on that at all. The thing I like about this event is that when the event is happening, they do a great job of showing the rippling effect throughout the universe. That's what's special about having a universe. And I think DC tries to do that, but there are so many other books that are either in or out and you don't know. And then when the books that are in it, they just abruptly are in the event. There is no buildup. And the buildup usually is like 1 or 2 pages in a footnote. And so it's done. I feel like it's not like, oh, hey, don't forget to put that in your book. And it's like, you know, Batman, for instance, like Batman ended abruptly and suddenly Failsafe is back because Amanda Waller said so. It just, I don't know. Nope. Stop it. Not doing that. I'm not. Breathe. We ain't doing a rant. Anyway, you guys are trying to get me. Anyway, I don't have Nate to hit the button. Stop. But leave the plot movers to the main story. Anyone picking up Spider-Man Reign 2 next week? I haven't read the first one. I know there's a lot of hype behind it. So yeah, John, let me know if you're picking that up. Would love to hear y'all's review on that. I want to bad, but I haven't read the original. See, I'm in the same boat. I'm 100% in the same boat. So, all right, guys. You've listened to me speak, and I appreciate every single one of you who showed up to just hear me go solo. I love you guys. Had a great time. I thought this week was fun. Next week, pretty slow week. I think we got 5, maybe 6 issues in total. 3 DC books, 1 independent. I have no Marvel next week. No, that's not true. I've got the Moon Knight 0. But other than that, I have no Marvel next week. So I don't know. It's in the air if we'll have a show or not. I will do a new comic book day video. It'll either be me solo or Nate will be here. But either way, you will get a new comic book day video for Tuesday for July 3rd. But as for a live show, I'm sure we'll do it. I mean, there's an Absolute Power. There's a tie-in there. We'll see. I mean, again, there's a Moon Knight 0, and I'm probably going to want to talk about it. So we'll see. Just keep your eyes peeled on social to see if there's if I put out a posting like, hey, there's no show, or if there's a pre-record. But it's a little bit of a light week just because we're, you know, it's just a light week. Like, I've got no Marvel, so I mean, I do now. We have the Moon Knight 0. We will see. I keep on saying that. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching. I appreciate every single one of y'all for coming out, hanging out, supporting us. All of you members, y'all with the swords, thank you so much. And everyone that was a member and isn't a member now, I still appreciate you so much for doing the thing and coming out and hanging out. I love y'all. I love you all. You guys are great. I love coming on Sundays and just talking comics with y'all and hanging out. And I look forward to it. I really do. It's so much fun. So we'll see you guys in the next one, right? Right? You guys take care of yourselves. If you're in the U.S., have some fun. Be safe for the 4th of July. Patty, I think tomorrow is Canada Day, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. I thought I saw that on the calendar. That Canada Day is tomorrow. Day. July 1st. So, if you're in Canada, go celebrate with Patty. Tomorrow's Canada Day. So, Maple Leafs. Right? You tell me, Patty, if you're still here. Anyway, happy Canada Day tomorrow, and everyone that's here in the States, happy 4th. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Have some fun, but just don't be dumb with fireworks. How many times you hear stories about people just blowing stuff up? What's your pick of the week? Oh, pick of the week, Joe, was Blood Hunt. Blood Hunt issue number 4. Yeah, I hit that button, didn't I? I thought I did. Yeah. This show makes reading and collecting comics so much more fun. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I think I missed it. Yeah, Blood Hunt number 4. This is my pick of the week. Like that Moon Knight reveal was just like, god damn. It was so good. I literally was sitting at my kitchen table reading while my kids were having lunch, and like I got to that part and was like, holy shit, this is cool. My oldest was like, what? I was like, just wait. Like I was reading the explicit one, so I didn't want him to be like, what? I'm like, no, I can't look at that. But yeah, it's good. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys Tuesday, new comic book day, a little bit of a short one, only about 6 books. And then we'll see if I'm sure there'll be a live show. It'll be a very short one because there's not that many books. But maybe we'll talk about House of the Dragon. Nate's watching it now. Holy shit. Right? Like he was very adamant that he wasn't going to watch it. He's watching it now. So maybe we should start talking about that because it's a great show. If you're not watching it, you're missing out. So anyways, guys, as always, be kind to one another and read more comics. We'll catch you guys next week. Later. What, Joe? Go to Marvel Entertainment. They have a ASMR for Blood Hunt event. It's cool. Holy shit. Yeah, I'll go check out that like right meow.